Man, we've been doing this long enough now that I feel like we need a silly theme song. But if you're new here to this segment, this is where we just chill out together and I explore your latest requests and recommendations for super awesome underground metal on Bandcamp. Let's just dive right into it with Natura Morta and Tower of Storms. Ooh. I'm a sucker for a good opening. A little Isani kind of. So Norwich, UK, but formed in Poland. I like that organ. A little kind of subtle backing organ. Yeah, giving me the strongest Isan vibes. Cool little bass there too. Nice little chuggy part here. We got in the tags. Metal Norwich. Simple. A little bit progressive. Very atmospheric. Very chill too. Solid production. Hail That Fucker is the name of the opening song. We have to check that out. Ooh. Doomy, imposing opening there. I can see why you picked that other track for the highlight track though. Yeah, this is pretty cool. Kind of that more slightly avant-garde black metal. Oh, like that. Yeah, voice is a lot like Isan, but also just even the approach. Ooh, this is a little enslaved, kind of later enslaved. This sounds really interesting. And as always, I'm just giving you all a taste to hope you go off and check these out on your own. I always link every album in the description so you can find them easily in the order that we view them. But yeah, that sounds very intriguing. Looking forward to checking this out a little bit more. Again, that is Natura Morta with Tower of Storms. Alright, then we have Brace with The Collapse out of Australia. Sonic expression of frustrations arising from the modern world. Plenty of that to go around. A little industrial. Kind of godfleshy. Even the font a little bit reminds me of some of Godflesh's stuff. Always down for more industrial metal. I like this. This feels so 90s. I'm always really impressed when bands actually pull off making their stuff sound like it's from that era, because it's easy to fuck that up. But this legit sounds like it comes out of like 1995. Pretty impressive, honestly. And I'm just a sucker for this industrial metal kind of stuff. There's a little bit of like Helmet in there too. Kind of like mixed Helmet and Godflesh. Maybe a little bit of Killing Joke. Hell yeah. Ooh. I like that riff. Okay, now we're moving more into like a little bit of Ministry. Just a touch. Even a little like Rammstein in their guitar. That's fun. Yeah, man, I might have to make note of this one, because I'm trying to round up a good list of new industrial metal albums. It's been slow going, because they're few and far between, but that last Black Magnet was really good. At the time I'm recording this, which is actually like late, end of July, this section anyways, that's the last one I've heard. Yeah, this is rad. Digging this. Looking forward to checking this out more. Again, that is Brace with The Collapse. Then we have Kelodon Frame making a return again with Transience. Cover this guy a few times. More like ambient, kind of droney stuff. Little palette cleanser here. This one's cool. Listen to this with headphones, because it kind of like alternates between the left and right channel. Very kind of eerie and hypnotic. Also that sort of like binaural beats sort of vibe. Every one of these ends up being a little bit different with Kelodon Frame, which is kind of cool. Like, I feel like some of them are a little bit more like scary and eerie. Like this track has a little bit more of that sort of like Silent Hill eerie ambience, but now taking a turn for the more positive. That first track was more of like a chill sort of thing. Silent Energy. Yeah, this one too. Doing a lot of playing with the left and right channels here. Yeah, this one had more sadness to it, I would say. Lots of emotion. I'm not a big drone and ambient listener, but I'm really impressed with the level of feeling that Kelodon Frame seems to be able to conjure with such a minimalist kind of palette. I'm kind of interested, too, in like the development and creation of these tracks, too, because I think on the surface it seems like it could be very simple, but I could also see how it could get very complex and challenging, too, to get it just right. But yeah, that is Kelodon Frame with Transience. Then we have The Black Disorder. I almost read The Black Dahlia Murder, and that made me sad for a moment. But anyways, with The Acceptance of Humiliation out of Poland. Big fan of Polish metal, especially, I guess, both black and death metal, especially blackened death metal. Got Behemoth, Vader. Definitely leaning more into the black metal sound here. Black metal the way it should buy. You got a typo there, y'all. I think that's supposed to say the way it should be. It's that super aggro brand of black metal. Like the drums. Could use a floor tom there. Raging, chaotic, kind of hurricane, not hurricane, like blizzard sounding guitars. A little bit of that old Mayhem style and that vocal performance there. Which I'm not always a huge fan of, but definitely harken. I mean, if they're talking about just going back to the early days of the sound, they're definitely capturing some of that. I will say, I've said this a million times before, I'm a fan of a raw mix when done well. This is a little loud, like a little loudness worthy, and I'm sure some people are going to tease me for being like, dude, you're like a metal fan and you just complain that the music is too loud. But in all seriousness, no, like, it's so, like, dense that it kind of, like, I dare say is a little annoying to hear, whereas a better mix would keep me more invested. But I appreciate just the level of just sheer brutality on display here. Just a lot of bloodlust. Very kind of satanic sounding, too. I don't know if that's part of their bag or not. Looks like maybe from the lyrics. I mean, that's usually kind of a given. There's a nice little break there, too, for some dynamics. Yeah, I could get down with this. I'm just in the mood for some kind of classic era, second wave, I should say, black metal. Yeah, that is The Black Disorder with The Acceptance of Humiliation. Then we have Soul Ether with One Golden Head. Love this album artwork. That is stunning. Would love to have, like, a flag of that, like a nice big one on the wall. See if the music holds up to that. We're out of Boston, Massachusetts. Atavistic Paroxysm is the description. Interesting. Chuggy death metal, black metal, death metal, thrash metal. So kind of groove metal. There's folk metal in the tags too, and industrial. Boy, I can't stop looking at that, though. That is just beautiful. I love the color palettes. I love the detail. A little bit comic booky in a good way. Some tracks on the longer side here, too, so I dare say even maybe some Doom influence. Yeah, here we go. This big, sustained riffs, the slower beat. Production solid. Love the snare hits. Sound really crisp. Bit of a head bobber. They're kind of death to me. Yeah, I like this opening bass riff too on this one. We got some rain noises, some thunder. Lots of atmosphere. I'm getting the vibe that Quest for Metal will really enjoy this. Could be wrong, but I feel like I've kind of gotten a sense of his taste pretty well. So if you haven't recommended it to him in some way, you definitely should. If I remember, I'll try to, especially since he's been doing streams playing people's music. Yeah, very atmospheric, kind of death doomy, death metal, a little blackened influence too. Solid stuff. Sounds great. Again, that is Soul Aether with Golden Head. Then we have Tombstone with To the Existence of Light. Out of Indonesia. Another Indonesian band. Always cool to get those. Some really interesting stuff coming out of the like black metal and grindcore scenes there. Another kind of more raw production. Very second wave, just kind of classic sound. Kind of capturing the cold vibes of stuff like Viklindiger Veldi and Frost. More in that vein than I would say something like Mayhem. A bit of early Immortal in there too, maybe. Enslaved's the way to go, though, y'all. That is my all-time favorite second wave black metal bands. Now gone full-on progressive metal bands. Nice little classic, very 90s photo there. Very much harkening back to those old Dark Throne album covers in particular. Yeah, cool vibe. Say you're capturing the spirit. It's always hard because I don't have as much to say about this kind of just very, you know, typical kind of going back to the 90s era of black metal. Like, what can be said that hasn't already been said? Other than, you're doing it very well. I think you're definitely, seems like you're doing what you're setting out to do. Sounds great. Don't know what feedback to give. I'm always one for evolution and modifying and changing, finding your own niche, but in this scene, that's not necessarily kind of what you're looking for, and that's fine too. So, solid stuff. Tombstone, To the Existence of Light. Oh god. Then we have something in Russian. Always glad to get Russian bands on here. Some pretty cool ones. Ooh, talk about loud. This one is fair warning for people who go back and listen to these, because I will equalize the volumes on these, but if you're listening to these on your own on headphones, this is much louder than the other ones. Holy crap. That just blasted my ears. I'm trying to find... Oh wow, PayPal blocked its services in Russia. I'm not horribly surprised, but I hadn't heard that yet. I'm trying to see if they have their name in English, but I'm not finding it here. So yeah, if somebody wants to translate that. The band name looks easier maybe than the album name. But anyways, they say 20 minutes of all-obliterating, rusty, sharp black death metal. Preachments for the holy end times. Appropriate. Yeah, other than it being a bit too loud, again, I'm acting like a geezer today. Liking what I'm hearing. More very aggressive, kind of Gorgoroth-y black metal. A little bit more finesse in it though. A little bit of death spell in there. I'd say more than a little. If you kind of mix like Gorgoroth and death spell, you get something like this. Those drums are just... Love the cavernous vocals too. The production overall is quite good. It's again like just turn it down a couple notches. It's like making my eardrums bleed. I will make sure to turn it down for the sake of this video. Very cavernous, very ominous, menacing, I think is a good word for it. And it fitting to the, I think, a big part of reviewing, and this is the philosophy of Why am I freaking blanking on his name? Robert Ebert was like, does this do what it sets out to do? And I think that's a fair metric in many cases, and if this is what you're setting out to do, I think you've nailed it. So props for that. Solid 4-song EP, but you get a decent amount of length out of it. It's also name your own price, which is another plus. So again, this is whatever this is with whatever this means. Alright, we have Gildan, or GLDN, with First Blood, out of Brooklyn, New York. Interesting cover that definitely caught my eye. Remind me a little bit of the dude from Typo Negative. Another kind of industrial band. But more on that kind of like alternative end of the spectrum, I would say. That reminds me of stuff like Filter. Maybe a little bit of like Pitch Shifter in there. Curious if they list any of their influences. But they do have alternative metal and alternative rock and hard rock in here. This is also, like, totally reminds me of late 90s, early 2000s music I was listening to. I miss when they played stuff like this on the radio, too. Like, the radio is just so lame now. Like, unless you're listening to, like, a classic station, which is funny that all this has become sort of classic rock at this point, but I missed hearing, like, new releases in this style. Kind of neat. I like this. I don't hear a lot of bands doing this style now, either. Just in general. Yeah, very moody, kind of nihilistic sounding music. Great for teens who are pissed off and aren't entirely sure why yet. Nice bass rumble here. Moody stuff. I'm trying to get back to some... I like that guitar line from the first one, though. This one's a bit more of a slow burn, moody kind of piece. We got any more, like, cool guitars on here? Oh, some piano. Purposefully kind of slightly out of tune piano. Some more of like an interlude, it looks like. Okay, picking up the pace here. Nice beat. Very kind of Manson on this one. Here we go. That's what I want. That's what I want. This classic ragey industrial rock guitars. But cool synths, cool beat. Yeah, this is very Manson inspired, I can tell on that one. Takes me back. That was some of my favorite music back then. Yeah, this is also kind of early Manson-esque. Good stuff. Always happy to get some industrial tinged metal and alternative. So that is, again, Gildan, or GLDN, with First Blood. Then we have Horns and Hooves with That was lovely. I Am The Skel Messiah, out of Brooklyn, New York. Ooh. I love Gape My Blackened Hearts. I love that title, too. I also love some good staccato vocals. Like, I'm such a sucker for that. That's why I love stuff like Abzu. Skeleton Witch, to an extent, has some of that. Even Mora Prokaza for something that's a little bit more trap-inspired. But this is going more for that Venom kind of blackened thrash, like 80s, like before black metal was even a thing. When certain thrash bands were going for more of what would become that black metal sound. Interesting that they're out of New York, because I feel like they're really more so capturing that kind of European sound. Let's see what else. This motherfucker glows like your piss after you raw dog a demon with a last name ending in a vowel in the bathroom of Kettle. These guys have a lot to say, it seems. Oh, it's on Invictus Productions, too. Stickiest of the Icky, also in the tags. I like these guys already. Seems like they've got a sense of humor. Always appreciative of that. People take themselves way too fucking seriously in this scene sometimes. Especially in my comments section. The minute I criticize a band, even just like mildly, because I feel like I'm pretty fair with my criticism. People get way too up in arms. This is dope though. Glad they reached out and actually gave me a code for this one, it looks like, because it's in my collection. Makes it easier for me to keep up with it. Yeah, digging this. I always say my two favorite types of thrash are blackened thrash and crossover, and so this is definitely that blackened thrash goodness on the more old school side. Skanky beats, jangly tremolos. Love these gang vocals. Very chaotic, very live. I'll bet these guys are a blast live. I don't know if y'all are performing live at this point, but cheek-busting black metal is also in the description. I love that. So yeah, I think you get the idea. Loving this. Loving this. Awesome. Horns and Hooves, Am The Skel Messiah. Then we have Horologic Mime with Aeternam Damnationem. Another one that's they sent me a code for. Short little EP here, looks like. Just over 10 minutes. Around there. Is my math even that decent? Maybe even just under 10 minutes. Excessive Fat Accumulation. Interesting track name. This is an Italian project. Electronic, experimental, industrial. Definitely weird. Definitely getting more strange. Interesting cover, too. Very sort of like... There's an unnerving quality to that, despite it being so simplistic. Ooh. Picking up. Like those crazy riffs. These, like, buried vocals, too. You're probably not going to hear it that well on the YouTube kind of compressed audio, but there are vocals. They're just very far back. Another one I'd say listen to with headphones. So there's some interesting stuff going on. Very subtle touches. Some organ here. Chuggy. This is almost Meshuggah-y. Wait, these guys are all up. Whoa! I love bands like this where when I do my usual skip around just by a couple seconds, you land on something completely different every time. Like, I'm only skipping forward like 10 seconds. And we'll be in a completely different sonic soundscape. This is almost primacy. Bird Up. Is that a reference to my boy? Bird Up. A doomier one here. Definitely weird, definitely interesting. And I'll say, like, this segment is really my search for the weirdest of the weird, most interesting, most overlooked, bizarre stuff that I can then feed out to you so that you can go, please, check these guys out and buy their music. Give them some support, because they're not going to get it anywhere else. So yeah, that's Horologic Mime with Aeternam Damnationem. Alright, next up we have Steingrab with Fluch der Ruhelosigkeit, which is the closest that's going to get. Keep throwing me these tough ones here. Starting with some acoustic. I'm interested in this frog on this black background with this black metal text. Very interesting. Cool melodies. A little dark medieval times vibe going here. It's got that kind of like folky swing to it. Ooh, there's a little like a mandolin on there. It's subtle, but especially if you're in headphones, you should hear it. Yeah, this is cool. This is kind of the side of second wave sound that I honestly enjoy more. Good dynamics here. Pretty interesting. Once more, black metal people not let me down when it comes to this segment. I'd say most of like the mainstream stuff that comes through from the labels is just not that great, but a lot of this Bandcamp stuff has been easily my favorite. I mean, my best of the year includes 2 picks from this segment. Yeah, that sounds really neat. So again, that is Steingrab with Fluch der Ruhelosigkeit. Alright, next up we have Blasted Health with Vela out of Indianapolis, Indiana. More black metal-ish? Black thrash from out of space, they say. Look at that cover. Definitely raw. This seems like it'd be fun to see live, which looks like they do perform based on this video. I love those classic hole-in-the-wall, like, basement show setups. Kind of fun. I could see this catching on if they could get on a bill with, like, Witchery or Destroyer 666, something like that. Just happen to be the local act on their bill when they come through. There's another band I'm thinking of right now that just dropped an album not too long ago. It'd be perfect with them. Solid energy. I can kind of hear the like sci-fi elements there a little bit. I'm sure they would be good playing with something like Vector too, even though they're not as progressive maybe. Production could use some work. Like, again, keep it raw, but I feel like things could be mixed a little bit better. Vocals are so far forward, and then stuff gets kind of buried under it. And I feel like there's a lot of interesting instrumentation happening here that we might be missing out on. I like all these effects, though. It's got like a little kind of psychedelic quality to it. A little bit, like even 70s influence. I could see this in a music video with the, like, that old music video style where it's like Technicolor and it's all like waving. Very psychedelic LSD kind of vibe. But yeah, that's Blasted Health with Vela. Then we have Omega Glory with Omega Glory. Interesting image here. I like that. Very spooky. I'm sure my toddler would love that. New York projects. Kind of a mix of like, it's like black metal guitars but with some kind of hardcore energy. Yep, hardcore death metal. I feel like I've seen this cover before, but then again, there's like so many covers that look kind of like that. So it's another case of it works, but if you want to stand out, maybe have a little bit more personality, could use a little bit more imagery there. Liking the sound though. Another one that seems like it would be pretty punishing live. Fun for mosh pits. Good mosh pitting. Then same goes for the music though, like maybe a little bit more personality, but as far as the intensity and the sheer like battering quality, it's very oppressive, kind of suffocating, very dense. So it's interesting. Spitfuck. Great title. I like those like discordant kind of noisy riffs too. Oh, that was a cool little drum fill too. I'd bring those drums up a little bit more because there's some really cool stuff happening there. Yeah, I think you're onto something. Pretty cool. That is Omega Glory with Omega Glory. Then we have Death Denied with Through Waters, Through Flames out of Poland. Neat album art here. Lots of detail. Very cool. This looks very professionally done. Be curious who the artist is, if it's someone I know. Oh. Southern metal band, I said. This is not what I was expecting. Especially out of Poland. That was an unexpected twist. Interesting. I like that riff. It's kind of funky. Vocals kind of Danzig-y. Little yarly for my taste, but I like being surprised, and that's increasingly more difficult to do. So it got me. It's that kind of like dirtbag rock metal. Good music for drinking whiskey in a dive bar. Good chug. Get a little frown going. Yeah, this is fun. I'm liking this song better than the first song, actually. It's got a little bit more of a groove to it, a little bit more of a flow. Vocals are a little less yarly. This is cool. Interesting. I was definitely not expecting anything like this. Ooh. That's just straight like blues. Very different, y'all. Props to you. Like, this seems very catchy. Like, this honestly seems like something I could throw on a jukebox at a bar that doesn't normally listen to metal, and people might enjoy it. Yeah, I mean, I think there's some tightening up that could be done, and some slight improvements around the vocal performance, but honestly, like, should be something neat to kind of pitch to a radio station. That's a little bit of a further shot, but even like a Sirius XM or something like that, and see if they play it. They might find it intriguing, because I see some room for broader appeal. But yeah, that is Death Denied with Through Waters, Through Flames. Then we have Demolin with Tales of Demolin, out of Gothenburg, Sweden. The heartland of classic melodic death metal. Dark Tranquility, In Flames, Arch Enemy, At the Gates. It sounds like we're going a little bit more blackened. Yep, black metal. Sweden, also the home of Dissection. We're going that route. A little raw, but good atmosphere. Kind of like that other one. Good mix of like both worlds. The atmosphere has a little bit of that like early enslaved vibe to it. That kind of frosty, cavernous, twinkling crystals in the cave kind of feel. Ooh, yeah. This guitar player, I would be very surprised if they're not inspired by Enslaved in some way. This is like a straight up like early enslaved riff right here. Just jangly tremolos. Cool effect too. This is almost like a hoedown though. Got a little bit of that like spaghetti western and also like surfer punk mixed into the black metal. Yeah, this is neat. I like what you're doing with the production. I think it's a good balance to create this cool atmosphere while keeping things a little bit ugly and black as is appropriate. Hear my battle cry. Oh, it's a one-man project too. Look at that. Sets out to tell a tale with every song, so lots of storytelling lyrics, which I'm a big fan of too. I'd be interested to dig more into that. Now, it is a little crazy to me that you're telling stories with each song, but you're not providing lyrics, so that's a potential missed opportunity. Also, black background, please do something. I hate these white backgrounds. Nitpick, though. Loving the music. That is Demolin with Tales of Demolin. Then we have Daemon of Owa with Corridors of Seth. This is like a straight up Tokay cover. Like, it looks like the first album cover. It's like almost the same position and everything. And it's got that similar vibe. Lots of black metal today, especially in the second half. Greek black metal. It's a Greek project. It's interesting. They have more of that Scandinavian vibe, though, than the Greek sound I generally associate with stuff like Rotting Christ. I can hear a little bit of it in the melodies, but this feels more inspired by Norwegian black metal. Maybe a little Swedish too. Good tremolos, another solid production, I would say. Balancing things out. Looks like another one-man project too. Yep. All these very talented people putting together music. More than I could do. I mean, I'm sure if I put my mind to it, I could, because I can roughly play most instruments. Cool melody here. It's a nice little guitar hook. Yeah, this is cool. Lots of very second wave inspired sounding stuff, done effectively. Like, I get a lot of that stuff that's kind of but I'd say all of these have been above average on this particular docket. I like the sharpness of the vocals, too. The production overall reminds me of, there's a Swedish project called Merg that's also very good. Yeah, another one to add for you black metal fans. That is Demon of Oa with Corridors of Seth. Then we have Dark Watcher with Frontier. Love this cover. Gorgeous. I'm guessing more black metal with maybe a more atmospheric flair this time. Ooh, we're getting some female backing vocals at least. Ooh, this is pretty. We're going almost like full Panopticon route. Americana black metal, yes, we are going in that territory. Also, Nachachuan. That's the realm we're going. Farewell to the Old West. Love this style. There are a lot of bands, not a lot, but there's like a whole kind of subculture of these bands popping up, mixing up this like American folk, Americana vibe. Get lots of like even Western movie kind of music mixed in with the classic second wave sound. Ooh. Only $3 too, y'all. This song goes places. Wow. Yeah, this is another winner chicken dinner for me. You're hitting me right where right where it matters with this. I am in love with this stuff. And this sounds fantastic. The production's great. Drum maybe could be a little fuller, is a little bit compressed sounding. That could be a little bit more organic to go with everything else. But the rest sounds great. Vocals sound great. The guitar tone sounds amazing. I love how you're really capturing this kind of like whole American West aesthetic just in like the guitar tone. And still super heavy. This is fantastic. Yeah, get you on a bill with Panopticon and Nachachuan, among other things. This sounds excellent. Highly recommended. I may have to throw down that $3. I think I can manage. This one's gonna stay on my list after this for sure. That is Dark Watcher with Frontier. Then we have Where You Are from Aeon of Awareness out of Leipzig, Germany. Going more death metal here. This has kind of an Amon Amarth vibe. What do we got here? Death metal, melodic death metal, yep. Very Amon Amarth. That's definitely what I'm getting here. That kind of war march music. Two-man army, as they put it. This is kind of like versus the world kind of vibe. That kind of slow war march. Cover looks kind of interesting, but it's very dark, so it's hard to tell what's going on. Yeah, this is neat. Lots of very different, but always massive atmospheres, too. Quite a few of these projects today. See what these other songs have in store here. Well, doomier in sections, too. So this is definitely not a Monomarth vibe here. Picks up into it, though. Interesting. Yeah, it's definitely got me intrigued. Enough so that it's hard for me to find words to describe some of what I'm landing on here. Good head bobbing stuff. Yeah, kind of like you take a Monomarth and then you mix in some more like Death Doomy kind of vibes. And you kind of wind up with Aeon of Awareness, it seems like. Love those classic tremolo guitar melodies. Those are just always take me to Monomarth. Yeah. So those like timeless sounding riffs that just take you to another place. Very cool. Nice. Check out this War March with Aeon of Awareness and Werua. Then we have Archeraki with Albtraum. Y'all are really giving me some tough ones today. This is out of Turkey, which isn't the first time Turkey's been on the docket, but it's pretty rare. Love this image. This is great. Kind of a different twist on the classic black metal image. Alright, we're going pure, raw, like, bestial black metal here. Yeah, black metal turkey. This is more going for that, like, Burzum, early mayhem kind of vibe, almost. Early Dark Throne. Raunchy. Yeah, raw black metal, that's all the description says. Appropriate. We get some, like, darker, kind of more dingy, drony moments. Also, like, Burzum. Scary. Scary music. This is music for scary, angry, depressed people. Not exactly my cup of tea, but I know a whole subsect of my audience who loves this shit. Can't get enough of it. I respect it, too. It's just not my go-to style. But I like this mix of the, like, kind of droning ambience with this, like, really raunchy, wretched, just, Yeah, this is like nightmare music. This track's only 47 seconds, too. It's kind of like black metal, but with, like, a grindcore mindset in some places. Oh, and then we got some, like, more atmospheric, symphonic elements. This guy's really kind of flexing their abilities. It doesn't say, but I'm guessing this is also another one-man project, but I could be wrong. But yeah, that is Archeraki with Albtraum. Then we have Battlegrave with Cavernous Depths. It's out of Australia, or the label is, at least. Sometimes I get corrected that the band is not actually from there. Cool groove, very groovy death metal. Headbanging stuff, hell yeah. I like this cover. Very spooky, very Skyrim. Approaching the final Draugr boss to retrieve your new weapon. Banger. A little grindcore in there. Ooh. Nice drumming. Those vocals are much grindier vocals, I would say. Got a little bit of that Napalm Death energy from their, like, earlier stuff, especially when they went a little bit more death metal for a bit. Nice wailing guitars. Another one with solid atmosphere, again, a completely different effect. Ooh. That's it. Guitar melody's great. This is awesome. Banger. Ooh. Listen to that snare. This drummer's fucking killing it, man. The guitar works great too, don't get me wrong, but this drummer has definitely caught my attention. Like, there's nothing that quite, like, captures my heart like a really stellar drummer. Lots of cool fills. Just breakneck speed. Raunchy, a little bit of that HM2 vibe, but they throw in a little bit more. Ooh. Hell yeah. This is fun. This is great. Yeah, awesome. Another banger. Good to get some really great death metal on here. That is Ooh. Oh man. That is Battlegrave just ripping, tearing, and shredding with Cavernous Depths. Alright, y'all, I think that's plenty for today. As always, let me know what was your favorite down in the comments. Check out this playlist for plenty more in this now very long series I have going. Really enjoy all of you sticking around to check out these amazing, underlooked bands, but that'll do it for now. Flight of Icarus signing off. I will see you in the trenches.